Well, good evening, everybody. How we doing tonight? Everybody doing all right? Good. Well, what a wonderful day this is. Certainly a beautiful day, but a great day for Kokomo and Howard County with the dedication today of the Charters of Freedom Monument. My name is County Commissioner Paul Wyman, and I welcome you on behalf of the county today. And I see we have some other elected officials here today, so I'm hoping I'm not going to miss any. But as I go around, I see that Judge Menges is here. I see that Ann Wells, our treasurer, is here. Jim Papacek, county councilman, and Dave Duncan, our surveyor. John Roberts, county councilman. And I think that I've gotten, oh, there's Mindy, our assessor, wonderful assessor. Good to see you, Mindy. Thanks for being here. So I thank you all for joining us today, and I certainly thank the citizens for coming out. Before we get into the remarks and the actual dedication, there are a few thank yous that we would like to make today, because as you can imagine, a project like this just doesn't happen on its own. And so the first group I want to thank is our Courthouse Security Committee. They work with us on the location and how this would be set up. Believe it or not, there's a bunch of secure measures all around this courthouse, and it was important how we did that. I also want to thank our county legal department for their work on the documents for the dedication. Howard County Maintenance Department, they were out here with a lot of sweat and tears and labor putting this thing together for us, and we appreciate it. Scott Bridge from Bridge Landscaping, all the beautiful paving and rocks and everything you see leading up to the monument. Scott Bridge and his folks did that. John Russell, what an incredible guy you are, John, and you're just a master at what you do with all the concrete and the limestone and all the stuff around here. So thanks, John, for your contribution. Jones Concrete, who poured all the concrete for us, and Sound of Music for giving us this wonderful system today to do, and the Greater Kokomo Economic Development Downtown Association for their support in helping us with this downtown project. So would you give them all a big hand for me, please? We'd appreciate that. You know, the documents that are here in the Charters of Freedom Monument is the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution of the United States, and the Bill of Rights. And, you know, these documents really laid the groundwork for the greatest country in the world, and that's just indisputable. And the documents themselves are words on paper. But our forefathers, they had this incredible insight that free people would do incredible things. And if you look at our country over the years, we have done some unbelievably incredible things. But those documents and that passion that our forefathers had, it really wasn't free freedom. And I know sometimes people say that's a cliche, that, you know, freedom's not free, and there's so much truth to that. And today we're joined with some great veterans in our community here, and I know some of you out there are veterans as well, and there are so many people that have put themselves in harm's way to make sure that what's in these documents, what our country was founded on, they put themselves out there to say, I will pay the ultimate sacrifice to defend them and to make sure that the United States of America remains free and the greatest country in the world. Would you give all of our veterans a big hand, please? So we are certainly thrilled and proud and honored to have this a monument here. And so you might say to yourself, how does a monument like this end up on our courthouse lawn? And I'll tell you the quick story. It's a little bit about maybe a year and 2 or 3 months ago. I got a phone call from Vance Patterson and his wife Mary Jo, and they said, we'd like to come and see you. We have a gift that we would like to give to the county. And so they came to my office and they explained this gift, this beautiful monument. And my dad always told me when I was growing up, he said, son, if it's too good to be true, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. But this was one of those times where it sounded too good to be true, but it really was true. The Patterson family and their passion, and you'll hear from Vance and his explanation of how all this got going, but their passion for our country, for these documents, and for what they represent, it just overwhelmed me in my conference room. And so we began the journey and engaged all the people we needed to engage in the community to allow this type of donation to happen. And the Patterson family has donated to us completely at their expense. We provided a little landscaping for them, and everything else was done. And it's an incredible gift, and I believe the value of the gift is in excess of $70,000. And so would you do me a favor and give the Patterson family a big hand, please? So I know we're going to enjoy this gift for many years. It's not going anywhere. It is built so incredibly sturdy for 100, 200 years from now. People who come after us will enjoy this. And one other group that I know will enjoy this is every year we receive a lot of elementary students to the courthouse. And they come in for tours and they learn about county government and all the things that go on inside the courthouse. And those elementary students, I know, will be coming up here and enjoying the Charters of Freedom. So we're very excited about that. So without further ado, I think it'd be very important for us to hear from the folks that help make this happen for us. So would you please give a warm Howard County welcome to Mr. Vance Patterson.
Nice introduction, thank you. And thank you everybody for coming out this evening to help celebrate the dedication of your Charters of Freedom Monument. I've got a list of a few people that I worked with in addition to those that worked with Commissioner Wyman that I want to mention, in addition to John Russell and Terry Jones, also the Kokomo Glass Shop, Ryan Burns and Wes Newton. Outside of this area, Gant Stevens, Burke Memorial Gardens in Morganton, North Carolina, Brad Powell of Accent Limestone down in Spencer, Indiana, Command Sergeant Major Perry Snyder, U.S. Army retired, who will be working with the gunnery crew over here a little bit later, and of course my wife, Mary Jo, who I probably should have moved a little higher in the list. She's always a big help in what we do. I'm going to tell you a story. It lasts about 8 minutes, depending on how many rabbits I chase. I'm going to tell you a little about the monument you've got here, and then I'm going to give you my idea or my thoughts on what the possible future of these monuments are. About 4 years ago, Mary Jo and I were up in Washington, D.C., visiting with some congressmen and some of the organizations up there. We had some free time, so we decided to go to the National Archives because we'd never seen the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution before. So those of you who have been there know that you're kind of wandering down this hallway, looking at exhibits and all, and then it opens up into this big room. You walk through these big brass gates into this rotunda, and there are the documents, our founding documents on the other side. The Declaration of Independence on the left, 4 pages of the Constitution in the middle, and the Bill of Rights on the right. These are known as your Charters of Freedom. Now, one of the things I liked about this area was that once you got in this rotunda, there were no lines. You just wandered around looking at different displays, and when you got a chance, you stepped up to the documents. And I don't know about the people that have been there, but the first time I stepped up and saw the Declaration of Independence, something our founding fathers had actually penned, and saw their signatures, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, Rutledge, and the others, I just got goosebumps. And when I got a chance to move over and see the Constitution, the first page of the Constitution where it said, "We the people," I got a lump in my throat. When we moved over to see the Bill of Rights, I saw that the Bill of Rights, you almost can't see them anymore. They are so faded, you almost can't read the writing. Well, my wife likes to read just about everything, so while she's reading the supporting documents around the room, I stepped back and tried to take in the whole moment. I wanted to remember the feeling I was having. And 2 things occurred to me. First of all, that I would probably never be there again, because it took me over 60 years to get there the first time. And second, most people will never see these documents. Even though it's free and open to the public, there's just so much to do up in Washington, the other monuments and museums, that most people don't get over to the National Archives. And then we left. Now, some of you know I ran for U.S. Congress in the 11th District of Western North Carolina back in 2012. There were 11 of us running. And I tell people, I never studied so much in all my life. Not when I was going to Eastern High School or Hanover College in Southern Indiana. See, we were having 2 and 3 debates a week over 17 counties of Western North Carolina. And they were asking questions about the environment and the economy and immigration and the Federal Reserve, tax reform, the government, downsizing government. And to me, embarrassment is a tremendous motivator. I didn't want to be standing in front of a group of 150 people and not be able to address a subject for at least 2 minutes. So I studied evenings and on weekends. And one of the topics, of course, they asked about was education. I researched and found that we had two founding fathers who were very big on education, Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin. They set up 3 levels of education: primary, which was reading, writing, and arithmetic, teach our youth how to function in life. They set up a secondary level of some of the trades, geography, history, living languages, things like that. And then the 3rd level was for the advanced, getting into professions, culture of virtue, arts, and things like that. Well, it's no surprise they were very strong on civics and government. After all, they penned most of our government we have now. They believed that in order to have a free and independent society, you must understand how government works, that you cannot control what you do not understand. Towards the end of my campaign in 2012, I remember Mary Jo and I were sitting on the old courthouse green down in Burke County, North Carolina, for a National Day of Prayer meeting. And towards the end of the service, the thought came to me, what if we could duplicate the experience we had up in Washington the first time we saw the Charters of Freedom? What if we could bring that experience back to the citizens of Burke County? So after the meeting, after the service ended, Mary Jo and I actually walked around the courthouse green, picking out a possible location to put the monument. Well, it took about 2 years to get this done. And I said something earlier that wasn't quite true, that I'd never be back up in Washington again. Because on August 5th, when we met, that's 2013, we met with the City Council and the County Commissioners in a joint session, and they voted unanimously to accept this gift. Well, we'd only seen the monuments once, and here we were going to go ahead and build them in our county. So we got on, of course, looked online. There are no measurements, dimensions, prints, or anything like that online. We had a general idea what they looked like by people standing next to them, but that wasn't enough. So the next day, August 6th, we drove back up to Washington, walked into the National Archives, and now they won't let you just take out a tape measure and start measuring a national monument. So Mary Jo went one way and I went another. And we wandered around a little bit, and then finally I stepped up to the end of the Constitution. Right here, step, and then another step. And I was standing about in the middle. So, okay, I know the Constitution is about 12 feet long. Meanwhile, Mary Jo is walking up, stepping up next to the monuments, and marking on her body where these measurements come up. So we get that, and then we leave before anybody starts asking us questions, because we did not want to talk to anybody. So we went back to our hotel room, took the measurements and everything, and that's how this is designed. So it may not be exactly what's up in Washington. Keep in mind, it's based on 2 paces of a short guy and about 3 marks on my wife's body. We have our ways. As I say, it took about 2 years to get the first one put in. We dedicated it on July 2nd, 2014. Mary Jo, it was so well received, and Mary Jo and I had such a joy in giving, we decided to do another one in Murphy, North Carolina, the farthest west county in Cherokee County that you can go in North Carolina. That dedication took place on September 17th, 2014. That is Constitution Day. The third one was installed in Asheville, North Carolina, in Buncombe County. That was gifted on May 21st of this year. Now, there were rumors starting that I was going to run for Congress again. So to quell that, and Mary Jo was getting a little nervous, we decided to do a 4th one up in Jacksonville, Illinois, over in Morgan County. That's my wife's hometown. That was dedicated on May 25th. This is the first one to be dedicated in Indiana. It's made of limestone. Most of the others were made out of granite. I like the limestone because you do so much more with it. I really think it turned out nice. Okay, let me tell you a little about your monument here. And here's a little side story. 45 years ago, I worked construction here in Howard County, pouring concrete and busting out molds. And I thought I learned how to work concrete. So when I was at Hanover College the following year, in the spring term, I decided to build a white cross in front of the Sigma Chi fraternity where I was living, because that was the symbol of Sigma Chi. I didn't ask for permission. I just came out one spring morning and started digging a hole. Some of the other guys came out and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm building a white cross." And they said, "Can we help?" And I said, "Sure." So we dug down 4 feet, poured a 1-foot footer, framed out a cross on a piece of 4x8 sheet of plywood, had the truck come out, pour it. The next day, we busted out the form, stood it up, poured the rest of the hole full. That cross is still standing today, after a number of bumpers have been torn off, chains broken, ropes broken, and it's been painted every color in the world. The one I liked most was when they painted it green and put eyes on it to make it look like Gumby. What I learned was, if you want a monument to last, you put more underground than above ground. Your monument here has a foundation that goes down over 3 feet. Poured solid, reinforced poured concrete. It comes up into a core, also poured solid, reinforced concrete. Around that core is 3.5 inches of limestone. The documents are life-size, replicas of the ones up in Washington. Each one is on 1/4 inch etched bronze, weighing over 60 pounds. The glass is 3/4 inches of laminated glass. We've had it installed over a year down in Burke County and had no problems with it at all. The medallion on the front was commissioned, designed by some artists that I commissioned. The eagle stands for the Declaration of Independence. Proud, bold, defiant. There's 7 stars above the eagle, which represent the 7 articles of our Constitution. And the 10 stars under the eagle represent the first 10 amendments or our Bill of Rights. There are 2 raised plaques on the Constitution. These are so that students, children can come down and do rubbings. Put a piece of paper on there with a crayon or a pencil. They can do a rubbing, have their teacher sign it, they take it home. They can show that to their grandchildren when their grandchildren come down to do that rubbing. These monuments, as stated earlier, are designed to last 200 to 510 years. Now, why 510 years? Because when I grew up back in 1969, there was a song by Zager and Evans called "In the Year 2525." And that's when these monuments will be that old, 510 years old. Now, people ask us why we're doing this. And I tell them, yes, they're very expensive, but they're more important than money. As I said earlier, our founding fathers said in order to have a free and independent society, you must understand how government works. Thomas Jefferson wrote in 1789, "Wherever the people are well informed, they can be trusted with their own government." And James Madison in 1822 said, "A people who mean to be their own governors must arm themselves with the power knowledge gives." I believe setting these monuments here in Howard County gives you all a direct link to our founding fathers by helping to preserve what it was they gave this country, a government to protect and serve we the people. This is an education project. Imagine, if you will, teachers bringing their child, their 3rd and 4th grade classes down here for a field trip to learn about the founding documents and also about our founding fathers. And while they're down here, they can learn about state and local history. You wouldn't believe how many people come up to me when these documents are displayed and realize for the first time that our Constitution is only 4 pages long. I say that's it. All of our laws and our government are based on those 4 pages. You wouldn't believe how many people don't know that the first 10 amendments are our Bill of Rights. I'll bet there are people in the crowd right here today that are hearing that for the first time. This is an education project. Imagine, if you will, a scouting troop down here on a weekend. You're driving by and you see your grandchild scouting troop or community service group camped out here on the courthouse green, keeping watch over your charters of freedom for a night. They may be sitting around a campfire, a well-contained campfire, and listening to stories about the founding fathers and what they sacrificed for this country. Later that night, they may watch a movie, a patriotic movie like The Patriot or 1776. And then when it's time to go to bed, they divide up into twos. And each of those groups stands watch for an hour until daybreak. They will remember that night for the rest of their lives. And should they ever be called on to defend this country or the government against attack, foreign or domestic, they will have that heritage and know that for which they stand. There are 3,142 counties, boroughs, parishes, independent cities, census zones, and the District of Columbia in the United States. Our goal as a foundation is to build and set as many monuments as we can in the next 9 years, so that children, like from Howard County, can grow up no longer talking about the Constitution and Bill of Rights in Washington, but talking about their Constitution and their Bill of Rights right here in Howard County. Thank you all for coming out tonight. It's really important, and I'm glad you're here. And now, will Commissioner Wyman please come forward? And my wife, Mary Jo. It is our joy at this time to present you all with a certificate of title for this Charters of Freedom Monument, for you to take care of, for you to make use of, and make sure everybody in the county does the same.
One of the other commissioners. It's kind of hard to follow calls sometimes. We have to do this all the time. But I also want to thank the Patterson family. This is a wonderful gift. I'm amazed. My grandkids, great grandkids, be able to see this. It's amazing. I want to thank you.
Commissioner Tyler Moore could not be here with us this evening. He and his family are enjoying some much-needed R&R this week on a great family vacation, so he wanted to pass along his thanks as well to the Pattersons. And lastly, I want to say thank you. Vance, you and Mary Jo have been fabulous to work with. Every time you said you'd do something, you did it. It was on time. It was fantastic. And this gift just means so much to our community, and no doubt for hundreds of years we'll get great use of it. So thank you very much. Let's give the Pattersons one more hand, please.
All right, we got two more things to do here real quickly. One's a cannon salute, which is the last thing. But first of all, I want to tell you about the time capsule. In the back of the center monument here is a vault. In that vault will go a time capsule, and in the time capsule will be letters, one from county commissioners, one from the education department here in Howard County, one from the sheriff's department, hopefully one from the veterans group. Historic Society in Greentown, Indiana will put one in where I grew up and went to school out at Eastern High School. And there'll be a letter in there also for myself. I do ask people, do not say anything silly in these letters because I do not read them before they're opened. They will be opened on September 17th, 2087. The 300th anniversary of our Constitution. Now I'm giving the combination of the safe to Commissioner Wyman, so if you're here and they can't find it, you know who had it last. All right, I wanted to do a cannon salute, and so I did a little history on it. Found that the first cannon salutes dated back to the 1400s. A ship pulling into port would turn its guns to the sea and discharge. Anytime you discharge a gun on a ship, you've rendered it useless. This showed that they meant no aggression, and they also saluted the port. The port would then respond, 3 in kind. Since they had more powder and more cannon, they would respond with 21 guns. That's where you get your 21 gun salute. Well, I knew I didn't want to do a 21 gun salute, So I remember being of Scottish heritage. I remember there was an old howitzer sitting up on the Edinburgh fort in Edinburgh, Scotland. And the Scottish, to mark the time of day, knew the British would fire 12 shots at noon. Well, so the ship's captains and the merchants could set their clocks. Well, being Scottish, they reasoned, why shoot 12 at noon when we could wait 1 hour and save 11 rounds? So every day at 1 o'clock, that howitzer goes off. So I knew my number was somewhere between 1 and 21. And I decided on 7. From tradition, and also because there are 7 articles to our Constitution. We will fire 1 round for each article. Are they ready over there? Article 1 defines the legislative branch, composed of the House of Representatives and the Senate. It describes their powers and workings. Article 2 defines the executive branch, the qualifications for president and vice president, their powers, duties, and means of removal from office. Article 3 sets up the judicial branch, the Supreme Court, and the court system. It protects the right of trial by jury and defines treason. Article 4 regulates the state's powers and their interaction with the federal government. Article 5 outlines the process of amending the United States Constitution. Article 6 sets the status of the United States Constitution as the supreme law of the land, to which all leaders, the executive, legislative, and judicial, must be loyal. Article 7 addresses ratification and declares the United States Constitution should take effect if 9 out of 13 states ratify. Citizens of Howard County, I say to you, your charters of freedom